Hey everyone, welcome to Scribbles on Scripts. As you probably already know, functions are our coding building blocks, but they may take some getting used to. They may be your first encounter with code that isn't run in the same order it appears on the page. They require you to think a little differently and find those bits of your solution that are reusable, and they have new and very specific syntax rules. It might help to think of functions as a very specific type of variable, one that contains code. Creating a function involves writing the code you want to use later and storing that in a variable. This actually makes a lot of sense if you use the function expression way of creating functions. Let's look at an example. We'll make a currency converter function that converts euros to either pounds, francs, or lira. We'll say we have some exchange rates stored in an array. Our function will need the amount of money in euros we want to convert and the rate we want to use from this array of rates. We'll also want to make sure we return the money in the new currency. So we'll start with our constant declaration. It's looking pretty variable-y so far. Instead of assigning it something like a number or string, we're going to assign it a function. We'll need the function keyword, some parentheses, and some curly braces. The code we want to store and use later goes between the curly braces, kind of like if statements and for loops. We'll put whatever outside information we want our function to have in those parentheses. We'll just have to remember that whenever we actually want to run the code, we'll need to give it that information. If you set your function up like this before putting any code in, it gives you an extra chance to double check your syntax and count your parentheses and your curlies. Dropping one or adding in an extra is a super common mistake that happens all the time, and it can be really hard to spot. And if you want that extra reassurance that you've done it all correctly, you can always plop a console.log "am I working" in there and call the function right after. Right, so we can add in the code that we want to use later, which in this case is a lookup and a multiplication, so that our money gets converted to a new currency. At this point, we can remove any helper logs or helper comments we've added in along the way. All of the code we just wrote is tucked safely away in the currency convert variable. Like any other variable, if we want to see what's in it, we can either use a debugger or print it onto the screen. So if we console.log currency convert, it will just print out the code in the function. It's kind of treating the code we wrote as an ordinary bit of text. Kind of meta. Currency convert really is just a variable. Of course, once we get bored of just moving it around and displaying it, we can actually execute the code inside of currency convert. And we do this by calling it. It's like having a picnic basket. They're great for moving around our food, but actually getting to eat the food outside is the best part. Just like actually running a function is the end goal of making one. Thanks for watching.